Welcome back to the Press Club, and we want to thank you as always so much for joining us. This is the best place to be on a Sunday evening, so we really appreciate your company, inviting us into your homes, into your living rooms, into your bedrooms, into your kitchens, into wherever your TV is, just to listen to us discuss, analyze, and break down what has happened over the past week. Now, Maria, very interesting. You have brought up the Sports Awards. Yeah, good?
Well,
bad?
Naturally, it's awards. I'm sure there are some people who, like any other awards, there's always somebody disputing, like, oh, this person shouldn't have won. But I doubt that very much. I mean, we have Laverne Spencer, who I think has won every year except twice from 2000 as Sportswoman of the Year. And by now, of course, we all know Laverne's name. Everybody in St. Lucia should know Laverne Spencer by now as a high jumper who's represented us internationally, studied abroad, etc., represented us through college, etc. But again, getting Sportswoman of the Year, and I don't think there'll be too much. There was or will be too much doubt as to the fact that she deserved it. And she's one of those who's gotten kind of changed the game in terms of getting sponsorship from some of the top companies.
Right.
We've seen her on Lime. Lime has taken up and kind of expanded her image with her on the directory, national directory, etc.
And
So once again,
Double is bottling
yes,
also.
she's and I think if you buy the water again, they're sponsoring her with every bottle of water that you purchase going to support her. And hey, I choose my water based on that. You have to support your people, you know.
I guess
so,
almost all water is the same, huh?
Well, I guess. Well, it depends on. There's some connoisseurs who say it's different.
No,
but I choose the one that supports Laverne. You know,
when we went to school, it says, you know, water is tasteless and odorless. But we're going to water Laverne.
That's a different story. Yeah, and Darvin Edward, although he was injured and he came back to competing after an injury. But again, that's a name I think more St. Lucians will know. He's also a high jumper. He is not based in St. Lucia, you know, already to really excel. Lots of them have to be based overseas and be trained overseas. But also a high jumper, doing very well, and he beat out people like, I mean, our captain Darren Sammy as Sportsman of the Year. Wow, right? You would have thought, well, okay, apparently you disagree with me.
No, well, no, I was just waiting for you to get through yours for me to ask some questions, because I always have that. Well, this first question is, what are the criteria? And is it because you have represented St. Lucia and performed well, or you perform well in your particular area? It has to be some of that. However, there are so many others who perform well and who are not international, they're just local. Well,
then again, that tells your performance, because if you're just local, it means that you're not performing at a level to be international, clearly, because then you would have been able to... The thing with sports is not only a matter of sponsorship, but generally, if you are performing at a very high level, you will have gotten invitations. You'll be on the national team. You'd have been among those. Because for this weekend, we have the National Junior Games going on. And this will be the arena to select individuals for the Carifta Games. So right there, if you are good enough at the national games, you get the opportunity to represent at Carifta Games, and you get to be seen and you get to perform. And from there, of course, if you perform well, there are lots of colleges that offer scholarships, etc. And again, it's ambition, because if you are interested in an area like that, where there are scholarships to be had, where there are opportunities, you will show yourself good enough, and you will, of course, take advantage of those opportunities that present themselves.
Well, I mean, yes, so I would imagine that Laverne would be Sportswoman of the Year until she retires from, from the
Not
international
necessarily.
circuit.
I mean, we have Siona Huxley got Junior Sportswoman of the Year.
Right. And she
might come up and perform well enough that, you know, she outdoes Laverne.
And she has been Junior Sportswoman of the Year for, what, 6 years? 6 times?
Yeah, she's come up again.
You know, also Auger, I mean, the swimmers and the jumpers.
The Augers always seem to make it, well, they seem to be making their mark in swimming.
And Darren Sammy, he's another one who was always up there featured as
but look at Davin has come in and, you know, he's made his mark now.
And I think that's impressive. Yeah, that's his first time.
It is. So
I
again, that proves that somebody can come on and unseat you. But I think if she's good, she's good.
Yeah, well, she is good. There is no question about that. She is good, and I mean, I always admire her, and I admire her humility as well.
Yes,
you know, because she's
very
performing
grounded,
at such a high level, and she's able to maintain that level head. You know, she is, as you said, she has maintained her grounding. Although we don't want her to be grounded because of her sport.
She needs to fly. She has
get over that
the high
bar.
jumper.
Yeah.
But it's interesting because, again, as you said, will she actually be Sportswoman of the Year until she retires? Will she really be the senior Sportswoman of the Year until such time? We do have sportswomen from cricket. There's cricket, there's tennis, there's swimming,
netball,
etc. Yeah, netball doesn't always figure very highly.
Right.
But these areas, so there's opportunity. But again, we need to have a good system. True that they really will make their name overseas, but you need to have a good system to nurture young people and kind of get them with the interest, development in sports. Make sure, and I think something that's very important that we miss out on is having their peers support them. Oftentimes you find sports events are lacking in support. You'll have an entire football, cricket team or football team playing, and the stands will be empty.
Yes,
because they play in the middle of a school day, and their peers will not be allowed to come and support them. And I think that is very instrumental in encouraging children to pursue any sport. In fact, any area of endeavor. That kind of encouragement is essential. And of course, it also speaks to the money that goes into those fields. Because if their peers are not interested enough to support them, those same peers will not be interested enough to actually pay any money for sports later on in life.
But you see, my concern too is she is competing in an individual event, high jump. It's only her and her coach and whoever else. However, if you have a talented cricketer, well, Sammy has made it to the West Indies team, he is captain. But if you have a talented, let's say, netball player, you know, who is performing at a very high level. However, St. Lucia as a country has not emerged as a netball nation, you know, not like New Zealand and Australia and those Jamaica and those other countries. I mean, do you say therefore that even though this person is performing at an elite level, the fact that St. Lucia as a team cannot make it beyond the region, that this person cannot be considered as a sportswoman of the year?
No, they can be considered, because what will happen is
that
how
they
much
will consideration would that person get?
A netball team, for example, netball team, we have areas like netball, which are not very popular, and rugby, for example.
Right.
But those teams, although they perform at a local level, they are always visiting sports teams. In those sports teams visiting, you also have the opportunity for the players, if they're really good players, to be recognized. They can be recognized by the visiting sports teams, by their coaches. There are avenues that you could take. Even our volleyball teams, for example, I know there are one or two. The volleyball team is very good, and they have traveled. But also there are one or two volleyballers who've gone further. Not the entire team. Yeah. But then the one or two who have excelled, have been able to show themselves and take opportunities.
But as you rightly said, the volleyball teams that we have had have been very good traditionally. So therefore you have kind of a support, a cushion, because they're going out and they're doing well. So when they go out, they do well. Then you see the individual players who actually contribute to their success in a very meaningful way. And therefore the scouts can take them and pull them out, say, okay, I invite you to come to my program at whatever university and improve your game, you know. And something I always lament is the fact that many of those people don't come back and give back to their sport. You know, but that's a different issue. If you're really
good, there are two things again. It's a combination of talent, opportunity, and also passion. And again, your contacts. And I think oftentimes, maybe what it comes down to, maybe you'll have to change your sport. If you really feel that you're a talented sports person and you're not being given the opportunity to excel in the sport that you're involved with, then you could always switch your area. If you're a netballer and you find that the netball teams aren't serious, they're not good enough, and you're not getting an opportunity to be seen in netball, you can always take it upon yourself to go into volleyball. Look, I don't think if you're a good sports person, I doubt very much that netball will be the only thing you can play.
Well, but you have a strength
yourself
though.
And training, yeah. But if you're something like, example, like I said, like Laverne, I'm sure she could be a great athlete in other areas
she used to run the 400, I think.
It's not simply high jumping that she would be able to do. But there's the long jump that she could probably be able to do if she decides to move slightly on to a different area. But again, if you have chosen that area and you feel you're being recognized in that area, then you discipline yourself, you train in that area. If you're a netballer and you don't feel netball is taking you far enough and you decide to go into volleyball, I think with the discipline and as a good athlete, if you're continually involved in it, you will actually be able to excel in it.
I take that to some extent. However, I mean, there's some, even with that, even though you're a gifted athlete, there are